G'day guys, welcome back to Oztrek Gel. It's your boy Blaze, and today what we're going to do is go through the piston kit for the MSR. It's not a bad little kit. I like it. It's exactly the same as pretty much the AWM kit with a slightly shorter actual cylinder and a slightly shorter spring too, by about 3/4 of an inch. So we've got nice quality parts here. Needs a bit of grease in here, so we'll get that out ready to go. That's in there. Couple of things just before I start. Am I going to change the actual barrel over? I think I'm not, because I checked it before and the standard shorter barrel actually has, let's see if we can do this one here. More like a 7 point maybe 1 on the inside. So we get some pressure on that. Let it go. It goes back to 7.1. So about 7.1. It seems to be flashing around there. But yeah, 7.1 is where it's at. Which is weird because the actual longer barrel you would think would have a tighter bore, and the shorter barrel maybe a looser bore on it. It's usually the case, but this one here is, I think, 7.2. Seven point three. 7.2, 7.3, 7.3. So 7.1 to 7.3. That's a big difference in between. Big difference in between bore size there. So if you ask me, I'm just going to keep this in case as a spare backup barrel. Stick with this barrel here because it has a tighter bore, because that means we're going to get a better FPS out of it. We'll change up the springs here. The springs are, I've taken 2 bolts out already. I'll show you where they're from in 1 second. 1.1 spring, so nothing too flash. I would like to put a 1.2 or a 1.3 in it and see how it goes. Looks like this gearbox will handle it. So without further ado, let's rip this thing apart and see how she goes. Alright, now the 2 screws that I did take out from here were these 2 just here. That's all I've taken out so far. What's going to happen is you're going to need to have a size 3 and a size 2, I think. Or is it a 2.5? Either way. And a little tiny one for your hop-ups, if you've got any on. So, let's get into it. We'll take all the big ones off. These ones here are the bigger ones. And underneath it here, we've got a smaller one, just the size under. And that's a small one, so I'll leave that one just here. I did loosen these before, so I'm just going to undo these ones. These are the ones that you want to undo to release it. I will put a bit of Loctite when I do them back up. Cool. Taking this little one out the bottom here, so this whole thing's gonna unlatch. I might just stick that one back in for a second. In here we have a 1mm spring. So all they're doing is just giving us a 1.1 spring to go up in grade. I reckon a 1.2, 1.3 spring would go awesome in this thing. I reckon the piston and the cylinder is more than adequate enough to handle it. even with the bolt in place on the end there. The worst that could happen is maybe that snaps there, but I think it'll handle it. Yeah, that's a definite cool upgrade to do. Maybe a 1.3 would be nice in it. So let's tear this down and continue on with it, shall we? What we're going to do is maybe swap this one over here to something with a little bit of leverage on it. And we're going to pull out this pin right here. Now this pin here is going to be the actual pin that locks, goes straight up in here and locks where the spring is, the spring tensioner. All right, so I'm going to undo this at the back. Cool. All right, now we're going to pop this off. So you'll notice that it's got tension. All right. So you don't really want to smash it too hard because this is a cast gearbox. It could crack and break. You just want to get something in here and just like lever it out really like gently. And it should pop out just like that. And I'll put that one aside. Spring tensioner. So now you'll notice we've got no tension on here. And we can get this out with any luck. Let's remove our bolt, and it is a tool. It does have the tool on the back of it there. And make sure you keep your detent for the back of this. Otherwise your bolt won't engage properly. It needs to sit into these two holes here to get the quick click. So just leave it in there. Hopefully it doesn't spring out. And honestly, I think this is catching on here, so we're just going to rip this out. Just lever it out slowly. Don't want to break it. Okay, so now that's dropped out. That, I believe, is what was stopping it. Should be able to come out forwards now. Straight out. Look at that. Beautiful. Alright, well, there's a bit of gunk in this. There's a bit of grass and stuff from playing sniper, and I'm not going to use this at all, to tell you the truth. So what I might do is the little crappy one, silver one. Stick that back on here. Leave that one. Put it aside. Get the new one. Get some grease out. All right. I'm gonna lube the hell out of this with some grease. Awesome. Just a good way to get it all lubed up. And make sure you get a rag because you can't touch anything after it. Well, that's just with the silicone in there, the grease. I put it everywhere just to make the parts last a little bit longer. Thicker the grease, longer it'll last. Okay. Oh, this one's not actually a tool. Should be a tool where you click it in there and wind those ones up. That's actually the tool that's on the AWM. So now you need silicone-free hands. Or a way to be able to do this thing up. That will do. And we have, voila, metal piston, metal cylinder installed. Reverse, go from front to back, slide it in here, probably put a little bit of lubricant in there too. I've got a lot more grease coming on order too, so make sure you've got heaps of grease, because it really does pay to pack it in. And I mean pack it in. Right, we'll just polish up the side that's showing. That way it gets lubed properly. So we go from front to back. Alright, now let's see how fast this thing can go back together. It shouldn't be very long at all. By the trigger set again. Make sure this lines up with the little hole in here, and same vice versa. Don't know if you can see. Oh, see that there? Those two. And that needs to go further back so we can latch in. Alright, click it down. Cool. See, now we can't push it out forwards, but it will come out sort of backwards. I know, won't go either way. Like that, stuck in. Now I want to put these two back in. Just be careful not to go ham on them. Okay. Wipe down the screwdrivers. It can't touch anything. It's crazy. All right. Let's get the back on this thing. Remember your detent. That's where it goes. So line it up at the bottom there. Put it together. Alright, and this one you can crank it up a bit. Not too much, but it is going into a metal outer. Cool, let's get our pin back in. Spring retention. We're just going to make sure it's all down position. Slide this one back in and hopefully a bit of wiggle. Now to get the little detent back in there, the spring tensioner, just took the end of the screwdriver out. You can use the back end. I just use this end here and push down really hard. Clunk clunk, it goes in, and once it goes straight in, you will have a fully loadable blaster, which is nice. It's got a bit of kick in it, a little bit of jump then. So let's get this thing put back together really quickly and see how she goes. Actually, I might start right here. Just make sure that this lines up. Cool. And let's get the hop up on. Remember, be very gentle putting these ones in. Not wobbling around. Excellent. Alright, now there is a little metal insert on the inside of that one there. Just don't go too crazy on that one because the casing is nylon around it. Let's put it together. These two just go straight back together. Hold in like that. Put your little one at the front here. little baby one. It's the matte finished one, if you're wondering. And I think it's the small Allen key, the smaller size. Alright, you can sort of crank it a little bit. Not too much though. So to give it a crank and then maybe a quarter return back sort of thing. Let's get the long one in, retain the actual receiver. And you can sort of give this one a little bit of a crank, not too hard, just so it's not coming out. Oh, maybe one more. They're only quarter cranks, not even. So, cool. That one's there. Excellent. Test fire. Definitely. For some reason, now it looks as though I might have to bend this out a little bit with a pair of pliers, because you can see that it's just touching the catch here. That's what's making that horrible noise as it's coming out. And as I pull it back, you can see what it's doing there? It's putting it straight onto safety. Alright. So now, can't fire it until it's locked up. Then it's firing. So I might just bend that one there out a little bit. I'll do that later with a pair of pliers, but at the moment it seems to be operating. Let's get the front back on. Nice, easy assembly. Let's put the rails back on. Now these ones you can actually crank up a bit because they are going into a metal fitting. Alright, she's back together. Minus a hop up. Alright, let's see if it fits. Ooh, barely, and does fit within that in there too. Barely. Maybe I can will go on enough for me to tack it. Just might be able to get enough glue on the end of that one there to hold that one there on. I could actually go down the track of converting something like this onto it, just so that we've got something on here. But at the moment we've got something. I thought the 13 would fit within there, the 14 doesn't. So I'll try another flash, might have to actually get one. Either way, this is done, all working. Let's go and FPS test it. See how she goes. Well, almost forgot to put these two little suckers back in. I've got the large bolt on them. Get that. I thought when I picked it up just then, it was a little bit wobbly. I thought, what's wrong with that? But so you'll know. Give them a crank, but not too much. They are going into nylon. Alright, so let's go out. Now give this an FPS test. So what I'm going to do now is put the weights and measures in for this. Now the weights and measures in for this are at 0.19 and at 7.1 millimeters. That's the way I've got this one set to get the most accurate variant from it. I'm just going to pre-check to see that that's right with these scales. 0.19. So that's dialed in. And size wise, are we dialed in? Now I believe it has a 7.2 barrel, actually no, this one has a 7.1 bore, so it should be alright. And we have a 7.1 bore. So let's go shoot some gels. Now we're all matched up in here. We're going to get the correct FPS for the weight and the size of what the projectile is that's going through it, the gel ball, and they all are fairly similar, but they're all different. So if you're just going off standard readings here, which would just be like generally 8 mils by I think maybe 2 or 2.2 would be it. that's wrong. So you got to reset it. Anyways, let's go and get a bit of a shot happening and see if we can't have some fun. All right, so we've got our gels all measured up here to the 0, 1.9, 7.1 mil. I just wanted to quickly point out the difference between the two cylinders and the pistons in the AWM and the MSR. The AWM is clearly bigger and it clearly has a bit more punch to it. That's all you can say for it. So really you need to upgrade the spring a bit more in this one than this one here, but let's give this a good go. The piston looks nice sitting in there, it feels good, everything's working great. I've taken a couple of shots and it's time to get some FPS readings here. And I can put them up on the screen for you. Right, we have 298.4, 289.9, 292.5, 292.5, 246.0, making sure we're not clipping anything in here and getting false readings. 287.3, 292.5, so it does like the 292.5, 287.3, 232.1, 284.7, first 300 breaker, 301.4, 282, 284, 287, 287.3, 289.9, 295.9. So it gets up around that 300 range, as you can sort of see there. It's to be expected that the AWM has a bit of a better punch to it. This still puts holes in boxes, don't get me wrong. But this still puts holes in boxes, don't get me wrong. But I will put this up on the screen for you now. Do a screenshot. Not bad. Not bad. Let's aim at that pole. Very good. Bit of wind. It's dropping just before the pole on some of them. Yeah, I think we could adjust the hop up on it a bit. I haven't done any real work to it, just whacked it on just then. And look, it'll take a headshot at that pole, which from here is about 20 meters, just a little bit over, not much over. Dips low, hits high, that would have been a headshot. Yeah, some of them are dipping low, it's a little bit sort of inconsistent on the firing side of things. Hit about chest height, a little bit below, aiming at head height, so that's dropping. It's a fun little blaster. It really does look good with the cylinder in it. Makes it that's what it's supposed to be. Matches everything up a bit there, a bit of silver and black happening everywhere, and it's quite fun. Black bit. So, no sight or anything on this, just winging it. Winging it down the Picatinny. And it bounced back. So nice. Not too bad. Impressed. Doesn't really have the best distance on it. But we'll improve that with the hop up. Maybe whack a larger spring in it. It's fairly consistent, as you can see. But yeah, results speak for themselves. It's not too bad a blaster. 295, FPS blaster is fairly good. It just doesn't have the distance that I would like in it. That could very well just be because I'm using the AKA Tenacities. So all up, it's not a bad little blaster. It's got a few there off the top. We've got 295, 28, likes the 280s. It loves the 280, so it's pretty consistent between about 280 and 300. There was a few low shots that happened in there, but that's not too bad of an improvement for this blaster. I really am happy with the way that it turned out. It's definite improvement to what it was. I can't wait to give this one a bit of a field test. It's going to be a fun little device. I might just pull it apart, give it a little bit more lube, just especially up around here where it's actually joining the actual hop-up itself, or the T-piece. Other than that, I'm very happy with it. So go out and get yourself a steel kit if you have a MSR. While you can still get them, they seem to be sort of disappearing. There are a few resellers at the moment that still have them, so go out and get one. It'll definitely make a markable improvement. The MSR is a great little blaster. It's a funky looking little blaster. It's now got a little bit more power. It's making it a bit more adequate. New spring might be a move. I think that's what's going to happen. But other than that, quite impressed with it. Now, next week I've got something very special for you. I'm not going to exactly open this right now. You're going to have to tune in next week and see what it's all about. All I will do is just say Classic Armory, and there's something in there. So tune into that one. That's going to be a really cool episode. You're going to like that one a lot. And the FPS on that one there, let me tell you, does not let down, straight from the box. So you're going to have to tune in next week to see what that one's all about, and I will catch you then. Peace, love, respect, Oztrek.